Good morning. This is Jason Dean coming live at you again for another Film Fanatic show. Hope everyone's doing good. It is Sunday at 9:50. Hard to believe it's a sunny day. It's Mother's Day. So hope everyone's out there who's out there in the worldwide internet world is going to actually spend time with their mom and stuff. I'm going to be going over to my mom's for dinner later tonight, which will be fun, and we'll do our usual movie watching. I got some movies coming. Um, One movie in particular that I'm pretty excited to actually watch is a newer slasher movie that I heard mostly good things about. Some not so great things, but mostly good. And that is a new slasher movie that came out this year in 2025 called Heart Eyes. So yeah, I'm gonna probably watch that tonight, and I'll do a show on that. So I'm kind of excited. So anyway, today's a show on a movie that I don't believe I've ever talked about before, but I've owned for quite a few years, and I watched it again the other night, and I was like, "This is a really good movie. This is a really well, it's a it's a movie that just blends so many genres together. It took me. I have been a little bit on the busier side, I think, so I wasn't able to start the movie at a reasonable hour. So I was. It took me about a couple of days to finish it. It's a pretty long movie, and I had seen a recent YouTube channel that I just got into called Cobwebs, which is a really cool YouTube channel. All kinds of horror movies and a lot of classic horror films. And on one of this guy's lists, this movie came up, and I was like, you know what? I need to watch this movie again because I hadn't seen it in a long time, and I'm glad I did. It's actually a really kind of an awesome movie, and that is the Brotherhood of the Wolf. It's a French movie, and it came out in 2001, I believe, or yeah, 2001. It's a French movie, Brotherhood of the Wolf, and I have this is a DVD copy of this film, and it's pretty good quality. I got this. I think I got this a couple of years ago on DVD, and it's worth keeping. I definitely think I need to get an upgrade because um, the production value of this film and the scope. It's definitely an epic film. It has so many different elements. It's got the obvious horror element, and it's an action movie. It's a period piece. It takes place in France in like the 1700s, I believe. It's um, it's a very long movie. I think it's almost, geez, I think it's almost 3 hours long. It's kind of an epic 2 hours. Well, no, 2 hours and 22 minutes. Still a pretty lengthy film. It's kind of it's an epic scope. The way this whole film is shot, so again, it's got so many different elements. It's an action movie. It's a martial arts. It's got a big martial arts component to it. It's a period piece. It's a horror film. It's kind of a monster movie. It's also plays a lot into, even though it's not quite. It's definitely got aspects of the werewolf genre in it as well. There's not a whole lot of movies that I think incorporate all of those elements. It's kind of a wild ride. It's beautifully shot too. When I saw this review on Cobwebs of this movie, where I was like, "Oh wait, I need to watch this movie again," the guy who's the host for that YouTube channel said that the movie has like this production value uh, similar to like Braveheart, and it definitely does. There's elements of the two movies I think this movie was probably really influenced by was, and it sounds wild saying it, but I think it has a big influence from Mel Gibson's Braveheart, of course, classic movie, and I also think The Matrix. This came out 2001, a few years after Matrix came out in '98, and then I think Braveheart came out in like 95, 96. So this came out after, and it kind of combines a lot of those elements from those movies. It's kind of interesting because of the 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 cinematography and the scale. A lot of the shots and the scenes of these just larger than life scenes, like on a battlefield, essentially, has this very epic Braveheart kind of feel. Beautiful cinematography, like breathtaking. And then a lot of again, this movie has a martial arts element, and some of the fight choreography is killer, and it has a little bit of that kind of what the Kowski brothers invented at that time with the Matrix, the bullet time thing, where you have these fight sequences where things are slowed down, and it has that element to it, or those elements to it. So it's a real interesting combination. It's a totally wild movie. I mean, it really does blend so many different genres together, and it's a foreign film. It's all in French. You can watch it in English subtitles. I think this movie definitely deserves. I definitely deserve to get an upgrade of this film on Blu-ray because it's really beautiful. It's like the cinematography is breathtaking. It's it had been quite a few years since I'd seen this movie. I actually saw this movie. I remember when it came out. I remember going to see it in the theater back in 2001. You know, I mean, close to, which is crazy. You know, over 20 years ago almost. And I remember seeing it. There used to be this really cool little movie theater in Waterville, Maine, which is about an hour from here, and that's also where I go to Blue Moose. There used to be this little cool art house theater called Railroad Square, and I remember going there with a friend to see the Brotherhood of the Wolf up there. And the Railroad Square was an amazing cinema because they showed mostly films that were considered to be kind of art house films, a lot of foreign films, movies that were not big kind of blockbuster films. And I've seen some really amazing films there. And since then, that theater's gone, but now there's a bigger theater in place of it that Colby College opened, the big college there. And I haven't been to that, but I've heard that they kind of have continued that tradition and made the place even bigger and more of put it in more of a state of the art, with newer technology and stuff. And I've heard it's really awesome, but I haven't been there yet. So, but it was a great, great theater, and I remember going to see this movie in the theater, and I remember my first impression of it was that I don't know, I didn't really like it. It was at that time, it was hard for me to, I don't know, get into it because of there were so many genres thrown into this movie, and it was kind of disorienting in a weird way, and I felt it was too long. There were things about it I really liked. And so I had this real mixed reaction to it. I was like, it's good. Monica Bertolucci's in it, Vincent Cassel's in it. It's got some amazing actors. Also, there's another great actor in it who plays one of the key roles, and that is Mark Dacascos, who plays this kind of Native American character who is also this badass martial artist. And I don't know, like when I first saw this movie, and it's hard to believe 2001 this came out. I don't know, I wasn't a big fan of this movie. I felt like it was kind of a mess. But then obviously a lot of time went by, and I saw it. I've seen this movie a few times now, like probably 4 or 5 times. Fast forward a few years later, I saw it. I think I saw it on DVD or something, and I remember thinking, "Wow, like this is actually a really cool movie." And then a couple of years later, I saw it again somewhere, and I was like, "This is actually a really great movie," and it kind of grew on me because this movie obviously has. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of things going on, and it's I think because it does blend so many genres, it does have these kind of stories within a story, there's there's a lot of information, a lot to take in, from the narrative of the story, and just the scope, and just that it blends so many genres together. Like, you don't really see that too often. I mean, the most recent movie that I gave a review for, Sinners, is an example of that. A film that's big in scope, is kind of this epic film, but it does blend, other genres into it, and you don't see it all that often. And it's very, typically that's pretty ambitious. It's hard to pull off, but if it's done well, it's awesome, and it can really, you know um, say something. But again, this copy, it has some pretty decent special features on here. There's a little kind of mini documentary about the film. It's but again, this is a pretty good DVD copy of it. But I really think this would be awesome as an upgrade, to get on Blu-ray, definitely, because it is a beautifully shot movie. And Monica Bertolucci is in this, and she's, just such a bombshell, and just one of my favorite actresses. And she's probably the most attractive woman on the face of the earth. So it's a win-win. It's again, it's truly an epic film, and it's really unique. It's a little bit long. It might be, I don't know, it might be a little long. It might be a little too long. There's a couple of segments in the movie, watching it, and it took me a couple of nights to get through it, just because I got home on the later side. So I started watching it, 10:30, or 11 o'clock, and I didn't want to stay up super late watching the entire film. Usually, like, it's funny, around 11:30, midnight or so, if I'm watching a movie, at the end of a day, or whatnot, my attention starts really kind of waning, and I can't. It's hard for me to really concentrate on a movie, so I kind of usually will pause the movie, or I like to watch the movie when I'm really fresh. Whenever I watch a movie in general, I like to watch a movie when I'm real fresh and, like, attentive, and so I don't usually ever put a movie on just as background like some people do. I like to, really try to check it out. And so, because of the length of the movie, I did that for a couple of days, but really worth it, really awesome. And but I do think maybe there's a few sequences in the film that might have benefit a little bit from maybe editing, maybe edit it down, or cut some of the scenes out. But I don't know. I think it all makes sense for the most part, and there's a little bit of a scene. There's kind of a revenge aspect. One of the main characters dies in the film without giving anything away, and then you have another protagonist in the character that kind of, tries to seek revenge. And there's a couple of sequences in the movie where it does go on, and it feels like it was kind of reaching a point to the end of the film, or a conclusion, and then it kind of goes backwards a little bit in the narrative, and then he goes back on that journey. And there's a little bit of that in the film, of where I felt like, well, maybe if they cut that out and made it to where it was going clearly to the climax, or to the conclusion of the film. But that's just a real, little pet peeve of mine. I don't think it's that big of a thing, because this movie is an epic, and I think it's definitely, like, great, a wonderful cast, and some really great characters, and it is real rich. It really, goes in detail with a lot of these characters' lives and their journeys. So I think it's probably appropriate. And overall, the movie is kind of kick-ass, and it's totally original. It definitely kind of messes with your expectations, because you kind of feel, I remember the way this film was marketed, and everything around it. It kind of feels like this is more or less a straight up kind of action werewolf movie, period piece, and but it is that, but it definitely messes with your expectations, and it does go in different directions. But I think for the most part, it does a really successful. It's a pretty successful journey into, giving you something that you didn't expect. So very cool, very very cool. 2001, this film came out. Definitely check this out. It's a really great foreign film. It's a French movie, like I said. So yeah, thanks again, and we will see you next time. Peace.